welcome back to Opal&Mint. I am Ashley, and today I have a very exciting video. I'm going to be interviewing with another Ashley. I met this wonderful woman on Instagram, and we both love watercolor and also Daniel Smith. We'll talk about that a little bit. But I want to introduce you to Ashley. Is your last name Hawks?
Yes.
Hawks. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm excited. So we're going to be doing a two-part video. Basically, we're going to break up our interview into a video on my channel, and the second half will be on her channel. So after you watch this video, go check it out on her channel. I'll leave it linked below. Okay, so I'm so excited. I feel like
Me too.
we've talked on and off for a while now on Instagram, and I'm trying to remember what was the first thing that I saw of yours. It's been a little while. I can't remember. It was probably one of your pet portraits.
Possibly that or my swatches. I like to
Yeah,
swatch.
yeah. We both have a love for Daniel Smith, so that's probably
Yes.
one of the things that connected us. But let's just go ahead and dive into getting to know Ashley and Ashley. Are you married? Do you have kids?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. We have a lot in common.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we have a lot in common other than our name.
Yes.
But yes, I'm married to an amazing man. He's really supportive of my art. We've been married 21 years this month.
Oh wow.
So we've been through it. And we're still together. So I think these days that's kind of a accomplishment.
Rare. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And then together we have three kids. So we have two boys. They
Okay.
are ages, let's see, 17 and almost
Woo.
19.
Oh my
So two
goodness.
boys, yeah, they were really close together. So it was really fun when they were little. And now
Yeah.
they're both about to kind of fly the nest. And then we have a 13-year-old daughter who has a physical disability. And that's
Okay.
another thing that we have in common.
Yeah.
Special needs
Yeah.
moms, because I know you have your son with autism, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He's
so
autistic. Yeah.
art has really been kind of like the thing that has gotten me through a lot. I've had a lot of like health issues. I had a kidney auto
Same.
transplant. Yes, you get it.
Oh,
And so art is a reprieve. This studio
yeah.
space that I've created, this is my I am in therapy as well, and I do my therapy sessions on Zoom in my studio. Um and so those two things in combination have really got me through a lot
That's
of stuff.
awesome. I love your studio space. It's
Thank you.
gorgeous. I am insanely jealous of that wall behind you of all this
Yes.
Daniel Smith.
Yeah, yeah. So I am
Here's my
very,
my Daniel Smith. But like all of my tube paints are like in a jar back here. So
I have a few in a jar. I do. And you know what? I am very, very lucky and very grateful to have all of this. And this was the dream back in
yes.
2019. I mean, I was just kind of fiddling around with watercolor. I've been doing it for years and years and years, but 2019 was a rough year. My daughter had a surgery that was really hard. I was having health issues. And so I kind of started to get more serious about watercolor.
Yeah.
And I was just using the cheapest stuff you could get on Amazon, like the
Yeah.
$20 set of 12 tubes or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
just in the cheapest, worst paper you can imagine. And you know what? It's okay
Yeah.
because
You
it,
start
I
somewhere.
start where you are, use what you have. That's why I always say.
Yeah.
And I've been on this really long journey with Daniel Smith, and last September, they invited me to be a brand ambassador, which was like a dream
That's
come true. I'm
amazing.
honored every day. Every day I wake up and I'm like, I get to be
That
part of
was
that family.
That was one of my questions I was going to ask you is how on earth did you become a Daniel Smith ambassador? Because that is just amazing. And I saw the trip you went on. It just, oh my gosh.
Yes, yes. So it's been, I really believe in the law of attraction. I believe that we can set goals and that we can really find a way to just be in gratitude where we are. So we can say, like, one of my dreams is to be a Daniel Smith brand ambassador, but I'm just so happy for where I am right now. And it's that like being in gratitude, but still setting those lofty, dreams. I
Yeah.
I mean, I'm nobody. Really, like I paint people's dogs, and I'm now a brand ambassador. And I'm rubbing shoulders with like these amazing, world-renowned, award-winning international artists, and I'm just this chick sitting in an old church in Idaho. Like my house is an old church. We'll get
Oh,
into that,
that's so
but I'm
cool.
just I'm just a girl sitting in her studio in Idaho. Like, who am I? But I really feel like it was meant to be. So Daniel Smith landed in my lap on accident. I like I said, in 2019, I was really delving into watercolor and just feeling such gratitude for it. Just really like I was dreaming about it. I was just it was really magical a little bit.
Yeah.
And a friend called because I had been talking about like, oh, I'm loving doing watercolors, painting cactuses. I have like all these cactus paintings all over my bedroom
I
from when I
have one
first
I did
started.
the other day. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I have so many. My bedroom theme is cactus because of all
Oh
my
my
paintings. So I was like, we're just gonna go with it. But what happened was a friend called and she's like, "Hey, you're into watercolor, right?" She said, "My grandma passed away like 2 years ago. She was a watercolor artist, and we don't know what to do with her stuff. Like it's sitting in a storage crate,
Oh
like a
my
shipping
goodness.
crate, out in the
Wow.
desert. Do you want to come look through it?" And I'm like, okay,
Yes.
So I go out, I drive an hour away out to the desert, and I walk into this shipping crate and immediately started bawling. My son was with
Oh,
me. He was 12 at the time, and he was like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, it was stacks and stacks and stacks of brand new unopened packages of like Arches paper or
oh my gosh.
Arches for French. Um,
Arches.
I mean, yeah, Arches paper and books on watercolor and brushes and cabinets full of supplies, and I
Wow.
just took it all. I was like, yes, please. And I just loaded up my Suburban. I couldn't even shut the doors. And I was digging through her stuff and I found a bunch of Daniel Smith swatches. And I had been kind of starting to get into I was watching people on YouTube talk about Daniel Smith, and I
Yeah.
looked at the price and I was like, there's no way. I just spent $20 on a set of watercolors, and that was a stretch for me at the time. Like
Yeah.
that was outside of my realm of what I was willing to spend on this little hobby.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, somewhere in this stuff, there's gotta be some Daniel Smith tubes. There's just got to be. And so, anyway, I opened every drawer in this one cabinet, and the last drawer I opened was full of Daniel Smith tubes.
Oh
There
my
were
goodness.
50 tubes, and they
Wow.
were probably from the late 90s, and almost every single one of them was still liquid, and it was perfectly fine, usable.
Wow.
So,
Crazy.
that's how I got started. And I like to think I still have a bunch of that paper. I'm still working through it. There was so much. There were
Yeah.
box, sheets, pads, everything you could. It was just like I felt so like, okay, this is God saying to me, like, this is what you're doing now.
Yeah.
This is a gift that I'm giving you, and this is
That's
what you're doing.
amazing.
It's amazing. I mean, I just felt so I was just on cloud nine, and I
You're
still am.
giving me chills.
I get goosebumps. I do. And like, I remember I had made a board. It's right here, actually. So this is my very first tube board. I had made
Oh,
this a week before this incident happened where I received all this stuff. I'd made this board and
yeah.
I put my little cheapo Amazon tubes on it. But I imagined in my mind it being full of Daniel Smith tubes. I just felt that. I was like, how amazing would it be? How cool would it be if this board was covered in Daniel Smith? And 1 week later it was.
That is
I just,
crazy.
I really believe in the law of attraction, and that abundance is everywhere. And our greatest dreams can be realized. I mean, a year ago, if you told me I was going to go to Italy and go eat breakfast with John Cogley and, like the whole Daniel Smith team, I would have not, I don't, I mean, I would have been like, yes, I want to believe this, but,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I've never left the country. Nobody in my family's ever left the country. And last month I flew to Italy by myself and
That's
had 10 days
amazing.
in Italy. It was amazing. So that's kind of what the way I became an ambassador, though, is I had started my Instagram And I was just posting, I was making swatches. Every time I made a painting with my Daniel Smith, I was just tagging Daniel Smith.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'd share my stuff. Sometimes like I'd get all these comments, and I just felt in such gratitude every time I got noticed, anytime, anything. And then I think it was in 2020 when COVID hit,
Mm.
John Cogley started, he's the CEO of
Okay.
Daniel Smith. He started doing these Zoom meetings. I think it was Skype before Zoom kind of got popular. It was Skype meetings where he would just show the rocks, the
Yeah.
paints made of ash, some of their paint, the
The
Primatech.
genuine line. Yeah. And
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
primitive.
Yeah, so he would show the rocks, and then over time it kind of snowballed. And I think it was 2021 I started watching these Zooms, and
Yeah.
it's twice a week. And I didn't turn my camera on. I was just this creeper in the dark watching, and I was terrified of like speaking up or turning my camera on.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that like if I want to do this, if I want to be an ambassador, I've got to act like an ambassador. Like I've got to contribute. I got to show my face. I've got to, what would an ambassador do? Right. And so I just started contributing. I started being, I turned my camera on. I started making comments. I was terrified. I mean, I'd be like shaking. I've come a long way, but yeah, it was really scary at first. I had a surgery. um, I've had multiple surgeries over the last couple of years, but I had a surgery, I believe, in 2022. And even in the hospital bed, I was watching those Zoom meetings. I mean, I was there. They brought me so much joy. These people kind of became like a little family. And then last year they asked me if I'd do a demo. So this was about this time last year, actually. I think it's been a year.
Yeah.
I think last July I did a demo for them. And then a couple of weeks later, they called me in and asked me to be an ambassador. And I was like ready with my dot card, because they always ask an ambassador, pick your 18 colors and you'll get
Yeah.
your card. I
That's
had already kind
amazing.
of been thinking of that. And yeah, so here's my dot card.
I
Uh,
love it.
and it's based on my pet portrait work.
I'm so excited for you. That is just amazing.
Thank you. They're my peeps. They
Yeah.
really are a giant family. There's no competition. There's no drama, none of that. There's no negativity. It's just this beautiful collaboration of human beings. And they
I
don't
love
treat
it.
me like I'm just some chick sitting in my studio in Idaho. They don't. They just treat me, I'm just one of them. And
You're an artist.
yeah, we're just artists having a good
Yeah.
time. That's it.
I
So yeah, it's
love it.
really amazing.
That's awesome. Man, my watercolor story is nowhere near that amazing, I guess. So I started painting during COVID 2020, but as you know, I'm a photographer and I've been 14 years now. It's still my profession. I still do that. Um, but when COVID hit, we weren't allowed to take pictures. And so I was like, I have to have a creative outlet that like I can't, I go crazy if I don't have something. Before photography, I was a dancer and I went to school to be a dancer. So I have a degree in dance. I developed a lot of health problems and so found photography. And even now I can see my life transitioning more into art than photography because I have, again, my health problems are so insane. I talk with my hands.
It's
But I'm severely allergic to cigarette smoke. And so going out on photo shoots out in the wild and in nature, people are smoking everywhere. And so it's becoming more and more dangerous for me to be a photographer. And my husband hates it. Like he just wants me to stay home and paint. But I started painting in 2020 with watercolors, and I've done like acrylic painting and I've done arts kind of all my life. But I like just fell in love with watercolors, with the way they move, what you can do with them, just the look of them. And again, I started with, I think my first ones were shin hands from Amazon. And again, those are, I don't know, 20 bucks. Those are not much. And I started with those and then the Mission Gold. Have you ever tried those?
yeah, those the ones made with no. No, I was thinking of M-Gram. Sorry, no, I have not
No,
tried Mission Gold yet.
no, Mission Gold, they're another affordable, kind of like Shinhan, they're
Right.
affordable, but they're fantastic, especially for the price. But I had those for a good solid 2 years before I did any other paints or anything. And I started watching YouTube videos and found Daniel Smith, of course. And I just fell in love with just their range and the way they, I don't know how to explain Daniel Smith paints. I love them so much. I mean, there's obviously colors I like better than others in their range, but they're like my go-to when I want the painting to work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I remember, in fact, on the back of my dot card, they asked me to write something about Daniel Smith, and that's exactly what I said. Like, I said, my art completely leveled up when I began to use Daniel Smith watercolors. I no longer had to fight with my paints or worry about the quality. And that's like
Yeah,
absolutely, they're just, they're ready to go. They give
yeah.
you, exactly if you want granulation, you know which colors to choose. If you want transparency, and they're just ready to go.
They're
It's
they're
amazing.
gonna they're gonna do what you expect them to do every time.
Yeah.
I mean, watercolor is a somewhat unpredictable medium, and that's what I love about it. But these are they do what they're supposed to.
Yes.
So I am very much a perfectionist. I don't know if you have any of that in you, but watercolor is one of the things that has gotten me out of my perfectionism. And um, I don't know why it is. I think it is because it is somewhat unpredictable. And especially if you're painting a little bit more loose and not, because you can definitely get detailed with watercolor.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but just the fact that knowing like it's going to do what it wants to sometimes kind of takes that pressure away from me to be absolutely perfect with everything. And I don't know, I just find watercolor freeing. It's the most freeing medium for me. Like acrylic, you put it, it stays. It does what, watercolor, it can do something different each time. You know what I mean?
It's almost like it's training us. I do. I struggle with perfectionism. That's something I'm working on with, I have a life coach, and she's really like helped me so much. But before her, watercolor was my teacher. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
almost like, all right, Ashley, here we go. Like this is how I'm made. And it's almost like a metaphor for life, because I feel like our lives are designed to teach us certain things. Our lives, like we're just here to learn and experience. And watercolor that's what it gives us. It's like, this is what I do. And you've got to bend. Like you've got to learn to roll with it and ride that wave.
Yeah.
That's absolutely agree with you. It's really just training me to let go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one question I had, kind of background stuff. So I told you I went to school for dance and I got a degree in dance and went into photography.
Wow.
Did you go to college? What did you go for?
No, I
What
know
was
I got
what was your original plan for your life?
I took a lot of art classes throughout middle school, high school. I took a watercolor class in high school. And then I got married straight out of high school.
Okay.
I immediately jumped into working, and then 2 years into marriage, I became a mother. And so really I waitressed. Like I was just a waitress. I did that for many years. I was really good at it. Um, but yeah, I didn't go to school until I started, let's see, 2012. I tried to go to tech school, and I am like I was a straight A student in school except for math. Math, I don't
Mm.
know, my brain, we don't do math. We just don't. It's just not there, and I'm okay with it.
Creatives, if you can be creative and do math, then
Yeah,
you've
no,
got
it's
it
not
figured
there.
out.
In the math part of my brain, there's like a monkey with symbols going like that.
Yeah,
There's
numbers
nothing there.
numbers make me freak out. Like they stress me out so much. My husband does
Yeah.
not get it.
Yeah, my husband is, I bet our husbands would get along great. My husband is a math guy. It works for him. So we're like, we fill in each other's gaps. He's Ron, I'm Hermione. It's fine. It works. But seriously,
I
and
love you so much.
he's even a redhead, so he's totally my Ron.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
but I was like, I'm gonna go to tech school. So I went to tech school, I took their admittance test, and I scored 100% on everything except math. And on the math portion, I got 10%.
Oh my goodness.
That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. And I was like, please, can I just get in? Like, is there something I could do? They're like, no, you have to pass this whole test before you can get in. And so I took it again and I still did not pass it. And so they're like, well, before you can take any classes, you need to take a math class through us. So I started taking the math class and then I went into kidney failure. I don't know if it was related. I mean, maybe. It's
Math is destroying
possible.
your body.
Yes, I am not compatible. So anyway, I ended up in the hospital for weeks. I had a PICC line in
Oh,
my arm, and I was a
I hate
photographer
those.
too. Like I was already doing my photography business. I started that in 2008. And so I was like, I guess I'm just gonna stick with photography. I don't need to go to tech school. I don't even know what I was thinking. It's like I'm already in my career. I already have this business. What am I? I don't know. I was in my 20s. That's all I have to say. But anyway, yeah, I was a self-taught photographer. I started a business. I built my website. I learned coding. I did it all. YouTube's amazing. The internet is amazing. I don't
Yes,
know that
same.
certain things need college anymore.
I
And I've
I
told my
agree.
son that. I'm like, look, if you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer
Don't
or
waste the
something,
money.
yeah. If you're going to do one of those jobs that you should go to college for, like, yes. But anyway, yeah, so I had my business self-taught and I would take classes all the time. I went to WPPI several years in a row, which that's the
Yeah.
world photography. I can't remember what it stands for. It's been so long. They go to Las Vegas
Professional photographers, something.
International or something. Anyway, I went there, I took all the classes. I learned from all the masters. Like I'm always learning.
Yeah.
Um and so in 2016 I I kind of got forced to homeschool my kids. My boy, specifically my oldest, he was really struggling. They wanted to repeat him again. So they had repeated him in first grade. They wanted to repeat him for third grade. And I was like, I don't think that feels right. So
Yeah.
we kind of just pulled him out of school and tried to homeschool. Then my other one wanted to be homeschooled. So I've suddenly found myself being a homeschool mom,
Yeah.
full-time photographer, daughter with a disability. And I'm going, something has to give. I can't do all of these things and be okay. And so I decided to take a step back from photography. And it was actually, I'm very grateful for this. I had a bride who was really upset that she wasn't getting her pictures back in the time she thought. I had a contract. It was a certain time period. I was still within that, well within the time period. And she wrote me a really nasty email and it was that day,
Yeah.
that email, and I just lost my crap. And I remember like rocking back and forth in the corner crying, just like
Mm,
I can't do all of this. I
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go ahead and let photography just kind of let it go. I didn't have a lot of clients coming up, so I was able to finish out my clients and
Yeah.
then I still needed a creative outlet though. And
Yeah.
so that's when I kind of like started pulling out my supplies more and started painting more. And it was nice because I could combine that with homeschool. Like I
Yeah.
could say, all right, guys, it's art time because mama needs it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
I love
and now
that.
my kids, my two oldest are almost ready to fly the nest. And it's just my daughter. It's going to be
Mm,
just my daughter.
yeah.
Um, so
Hmm.
now my art career is starting to really take off. But yeah, the question you asked was about education. Yes, I went off on a tangent. I'm still always taking classes. When I was in Italy, I took several workshops. Um, I was horrible at all of them, but I was just loving seeing how other people do it. I did not make one piece of art in Italy that I was proud of. I was just like, I don't care. It's horrible. I made the worst art I've ever made.
Oh,
And
no.
I'm just like, I don't even care. I was in Italy and I was on
Right.
cloud nine. I'm like, I'm putting paint on paper. It's
I
fine.
love that. That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I can't even imagine. So since I have such severe allergies, like I can't go on an airplane.
Oh yeah.
'Cause if somebody has smoke on their clothes or if somebody eats peanuts, I'm in the air anaphylactic shock and like there's nowhere to go. So I can't get on a plane. I have
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
places I can go is if I could drive there.
yeah.
So
That's hard.
that's
That's
yeah. So that's amazing. I'll just live through you. Just watch your
well,
story.
you know what? A year ago when I was recovering from, I had a kidney auto transplant. They moved my kidney from the back to the front for
Oh,
several different reasons I won't go into, but I was so sick and the
mhm.
recovery was really rough. And I would not have foreseen myself being able to get on an airplane or do
Yeah.
anything. I was so sick. And
Mhm.
I was having to urinate every 10 minutes and just it was awful. And so I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to get on a plane or a bus or like walk
Yeah.
around Florence. There's no way. And I just um I'm really grateful for my health and I'm really grateful for the healing that I've had. It's not
That's
perfect.
awesome.
I have to adapt. I still have to pee a lot. We might have to take a break
That's
in
fine.
this video,
We're
um, but I'm grateful for the healing that I've had.
All right, guys, so that's going to be the end of this video, but head over to her channel for part two because we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to get more into about what kind of supplies we like to use, papers, brushes, all that fun stuff. But if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you want to see our future videos, hit that subscribe button down below. See you guys next time. Bye.